Hello, I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf, and welcome to my Celebrity Couch. This week on the couch is John Travolta. Warning, this video contains sexually explicit information and is intended for adult viewers only. So, have you heard the latest scuttlebutt on Buttman John Travolta? Well, according to reports, John Travolta's recent request for a butt massage is but a taste of the alleged smorgasbord of sexual misconduct that he's been up to lately. This week, two male massage therapists have filed sexual battery and sexual assault charges against Travolta. And from what I hear, other alleged victims are coming out of the woodwork claiming that Travolta tried to put the wood to them too. John, what are you doing? Holding open auditions for a Saturday Night Fever sequel to be called Saturday Night Favors? But seriously, while Travolta's lawyer says the charges are bogus, there seems to be a lot of hard evidence mounting against Travolta. In fact, one of the accusers actually passed a lie detector test for the National Enquirer. So brace yourself for what's coming next. Here's a down and dirty but brief debriefing of both masseurs' legal complaints. Now, according to the legal records, Travolta's massage began in a bungalow at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. And here's a quote. Travolta appeared to be semi-erect and he touched plaintiff's scrotum, close quote. And the quote continues, the plaintiff told Travolta to please not touch him again. The lawsuit states that the actor promised not to, but Travolta quickly tried to rub the head of plaintiff's penis as he tried to pull away, close quote. The document also states that Travolta, quote, started to apologize for his behavior and tried to imply that they must have gotten our signals crossed and that he thought the plaintiff wanted the same thing he did. The record continues, quote, plaintiff explained that he did not ever have sex with his clients and that expecting sexual situations when people are providing paid services was essentially prostitution. Travolta tried to act like it was a simple misunderstanding. Plaintiff told Travolta that a masseur lying on the table was unlawful and inappropriate. Travolta said, quote, come on, dude, I'll jerk you off. In the next stunt, the Pulp Fiction star seemed bent on expanding his repertoire to include the role of pimp. He dangled the promise of a menage a trois with a Hollywood actress staying at the hotel who, quote, wanted three-way sex and wanted to be double penetrated, close quote. Travolta said they could have that later, but first they needed to have sex together before calling her, so this way they would be in sync with each other sexually. After threatening to call the cops, the masseur alleges he was dropped off where Travolta picked him up originally, and that the actor called him selfish and a loser. Travolta gave the masseur $800, double what was owed. Were the bucks intended to buy his silence or assuage a guilty conscience? The second plaintiff said in the record that he doesn't normally do in-room massages and asked a co-worker to take the assignment, but he declined because he knew that, quote, Travolta has been banned from a spa that the co-worker used to work at in Los Angeles, close quote. The masseur bit the bullet and gave Travolta the in-room massage, but, quote, as he was massaging near Travolta's buttocks area, Travolta would open his legs and spread his butt cheeks open and had a full erection and would maneuver in a way to try to force plaintiff number two to touch his anus and around his anus, close quote. According to the lawsuit, the masseur tried to carry out a deep tissue massage, but, quote, Travolta had removed his draping and was masturbating. Travolta's penis was fully erect and was roughly 8 inches in length, and his pubic hair was wiry and unkempt. Sweat was pouring down Travolta's neck, and he asked plaintiff again to say something nice to him, close quote. So what can be made of Travolta's insistence that he's the butt of false accusations? According to Carrie Fisher, who told The Advocate, everybody knows Travolta's gay. By the way, Travolta was first publicly called gay by porn star Paul Barisi, who gave a tell-all interview about an alleged gay relationship with Travolta in the 1980s. He later recanted that story and then subsequently said the story was true. What's more, other men have come forward alleging sexual misconduct, alleging sexual contact with John. So let's get to the bottom of what's happening here. Now I'm going to switch on my thinking cap or my shrinking cap and put together all the pieces of John's case. According to a reliable source, John seems to be gay, but he's obviously padlocked in the closet. John's son Jet died in 2009. One of the alleged victims said that Travolta exhibited a strange demeanor and had bloodshot eyes. Now, when I put all these details together and I consider the fact that I never read accounts of Travolta's alleged sexual acting out prior to 2009, I'm thinking that Travolta may be abusing drugs, perhaps as a way to self-medicate his grief. And speaking of John's grief, I understand that his son died of a bee sting, and just so you know, I do have first-hand experience with tragic loss. If you haven't already heard, my beloved husband of nearly 30 years also died of a bee sting a few years ago, and my experience confirms that the literature is correct in the fact that tragic, accidental death is the toughest to handle because those left behind have no chance to prepare for the loss, unlike when someone dies a slow, degenerative death. I've also discovered that, contrary to popular belief, time does not diminish the sense of loss. We never stop loving or missing a loved one who's passed over. Unfortunately, our fast-paced Western culture has also put the grieving process on the fast track. The Western medical establishment has followed suit by expecting the bereaved to grieve, let go, and move on in 6 months. What's more, if grief lasts any longer, it's considered pathological. And since the majority of the Western world has adopted this bogus philosophy, nobody has the patience to listen to those who are grieving beyond the 6-month mark. On top of that, nobody wants to have a psychiatric label slapped on him or her, so in the end, those who grieve are forced to go underground with their pain. Added to all this is the fact that traditional Christian religions tell us that we have to wait until we die to be reunited with loved ones in heaven. This means the bereaved are expected to live their lives in limbo, disconnected from those they love most. Thanks to my own spiritual encounters with my husband, I've been shown that there is life after life and that we've been taught everything wrong about heaven. What we've been taught about heaven is dead wrong. Heaven is a state, not a place. Heaven is all around you. Heaven is here and now. And this means relationships need not end in death, and the bereaved don't need to wait until they die and go to heaven to reconnect with loved ones in spirit. Given that Scientology embraces the notion of afterlife, if only John were to practice what his faith preaches, he could reconnect rather than say goodbye to Jet. And if only John were to say hello to Jet, he would discover great relief from his grief and pain. The point is, there are other options besides getting wasted to numb grief. And there's more here. John also appears to be sexually closeted, and because drugs lower inhibitions, John may also be using drugs to free himself up to act on his closeted homosexual urges. Because John was raised in a traditional Italian Catholic background, he was surely fed bi and gay-phobic messages. To add insult to injury, being a Scientologist, John must surely buy into L. Ron Hubbard, the movement founder's, views on homosexuality as an illness to be cured. If only John could put Hubbard in the cupboard and deal directly with the man or woman, he would discover that God loves and accepts everyone, straight, gay, and bi. So John, embrace your true sexuality, because if you don't, all your repressed, pent-up urges are going to explode in uncontrollable ways, which is just what's happening. And for the record, if you accepted your sexuality, you wouldn't need to use drugs to unlock the door to your self-imposed sexual closet. And there's more. Since you're a Scientologist, John, you probably buy into the official party line which says that psychology is destructive and abusive. But the fact is, your behavior is abusive of others as well as yourself. On top of all this, Scientology followers tend to glorify human will to the extreme, and they think themselves superior to others. It seems that this has allowed John to act out at will, as if being a megastar weren't enough to inflate his ego. While I'm not a devotee of Scientology or entirely steeped in its sci-fi mystical doctrine, it's not clear to me how giving a hand job in a massage parlor is going to help free you of your engrams so you reach your goal of being clear and being reborn on a planet in a distant galaxy. I'm pretty sure the Galactic Emperor Zeno would not approve. The bottom line is this: no matter what your woes, you need to behave yourself and keep it in your pants. And John, while we're on the subject, it's time to stop playing the part of a dog trying to hump every warm leg in the neighborhood. So that's all for now on the Celebrity Couch, where the stars come to see the light. See you soon.